Welcome back, everyone. The Google Pixel 6 actually ended up just coming out, so let's go and compare it against the iPhone XR and see which specific phone you should go and pick up. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be linked down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, there is a little bit of a difference between these two, not only in the size, but also the price tag. The Pixel 6 right now is for about $599 brand new. The iPhone XR was selling for $499. You can pick it up for probably around $300 something in the used market. So a little bit cheaper here, but this phone is also 3 years old at this point. It came out in 2018. Now the Pixel 6 actually has a 6.4-inch OLED panel, AMOLED panel on the front. It's a beautiful display. A little bit of bezel around the whole entire phone, but it's nothing crazy. There's a little bit more bezel on the XR, as you guys can kind of tell. Hole punch display, bigger phone overall, but you also get a 90 hertz panel on this phone, which looks beautiful. On the iPhone XR, on the other hand, 6.1-inch IPS panel, notch up top, a little bit of bezel like I mentioned, but overall this is a beautiful looking phone and I'm a huge fan of it for sure. On the side in the thinness and thickness, I kind of sense the same thing. I really don't think it's a crazy big difference. They both kind of feel like the same thing. Maybe the Pixel 6 is a little bit thicker, but on the back we have glass backs on both of these devices which feel and look pretty much the same, to be honest. The Pixel 6 though looks much different because you do have that dual camera setup versus the single camera setup on the iPhone XR, but this camera setup extends all the way through. So that's definitely a huge advantage of the Pixel 6. I don't really think one feels more premium than the other one. They kind of feel like the same thing like I mentioned. I will tell you the buttons on the Pixel 6 don't feel as good as the buttons on the iPhone XR, which is kind of interesting. But on the outside, that pretty much covers it up. Fingerprint sensor also built into the display of the Pixel 6, and that pretty much covers it up here. Now, software-wise, this is another pretty big difference. Now, with the iPhone XR, again, this phone came out in 2018, so it's a little bit older. It's still going to be getting several years of software updates, but it is kind of, I would say, midway through its life cycle, if not a little bit past midway, to be honest. With the Pixel 6, on the other hand, it's just getting started, and Google actually extended the software of this specific phone. So that's a pretty big deal. We're going to be getting an extra year of or actually 5 years of security updates, and maybe 3 to 4 OS updates, which is beautiful. So with that being said, I think the iPhone XR long term, I think it may be getting more software updates numbers wise, but the Pixel 6 I think is going to outlast the iPhone XR if you were to pick them both up right now. So that pretty much covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between both these devices. The iPhone XR has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. With the Pixel 6 has that Google Tensor chipset, the brand new chipset with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of these. Okay, that kind of looks like it'll work for now. So all the apps are clear on the iPhone XR. Let's get started. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And almost the same thing, not a big difference here. Hopping out of this one. Let's get into their app stores, 3, 2, 1. And the Pixel 6 was definitely faster here. That's one thing I've noticed with the Pixel series of devices. So with the Play stores, they're just so fast to boot into, to be honest. Hopping out of this one. Let's go into their settings, 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone was a little bit faster there. Pretty surprising. Hopping out of here, let's go into their cameras. 3, 2, 1. Almost the same thing, not a big difference. Now, swiping between these applications, I kind of sense that the Pixel 6 may be a little bit smoother there, which is kind of interesting. Now, as always, we have a bunch of these third-party applications we can go and test out. Let's do Quizlet. 3, 2, 1. Almost the same thing, not that big of a difference here. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now, this application was glitching up quite a bit on my Pixel 6, so I don't know why that's happening. I guess we can kind of see which one's going to be faster, but again, the Pixel 6 was just crashing. As you can see, it just crashed. So I guess I don't know which one was faster there. They kind of look like the same thing. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. Pixel 6 is faster. iPhone XR are a little bit behind. Gameplay-wise, I don't really think there's going to be a big difference here. Hopping out of this one, let's do Stack, 3, 2, 1. Pixel 6 was faster to load into the actual ad. iPhone XR a little bit behind. Again, not a big deal. Let's go and get into Twitter, 3, 2, 1. Pixel 6 faster. iPhone XR a little bit behind. Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. And I did hit the camera a little bit. I apologize. Pixel 6 was faster there by quite a bit. iPhone XR a little bit behind. Let's go and get into Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. I really thought I was going to mess that one up. The Pixel 6 looks to be a little bit faster. iPhone XR just a little bit behind. Again, I don't know if it was a pretty big difference here. I'll let you guys kind of decide in the comments. But still, the iPhone XR is holding its own down. We can do the first Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. And it does look like the Pixel 6 is actually pretty fast here. So we did get into a little bit of a game here, but I will tell you the Pixel 6 was still faster there. At least that's what it kind of looked like. Now, I think that pretty much covers up a majority of the applications that were similar in between both of them. And to be honest, I think maybe the Pixel 6 was more faster more often than not. I couldn't really tell, to be honest. They both kind of gave me the same vibe. If it came between both, I would probably say that the Pixel 6 was faster, but quite possibly the iPhone 10R may have been a little bit of a smoother experience in terms of loading up the applications. But I think both did a great job. I actually don't think one beat the other one, but I think the Pixel 6 was slightly faster. So in terms of that, that covers it up here. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. Now in the back of both of these, the Pixel 6 has a dual camera setup, a wide-angle lens and an ultra-wide sensor, while the iPhone 10R has a single wide-angle lens. It's definitely not a bad camera on either one of these, but I do actually like having multiple camera sensors. That's one of my favorite things about this phone. 4K at 60 on the back of both of these. On the front, there's a little bit of a difference, so you do get 1080p at 60 on the front of the iPhone 10R. The Pixel 6 also only has 1080p, but I don't know, the Pixel 6 could have done a better job, I feel like. I don't know why Google put another 1080p sensor on the front of this. Now with the camera UIs, like I mentioned before, they kind of gave me the same thing. You do have that ultra-wide sensor on the Pixel 6, and I'm definitely going to be doing a full camera comparison between these two, but they are almost the same type of thing, to be completely honest. I kind of sense that Google, I don't know what they did with this, they may have been trying to focus too much on their post-processing of that Google Tensor chipset with the different things like that, but I truly do think that the Pixel 6 may be a little bit better than the iPhone 10R. The main advantage of the Pixel 6 is that it does have that additional ultra-wide sensor. So you do have an extra camera setup here versus the iPhone 10R. Is that a big deal? In my opinion, it kind of is, and that kind of makes the iPhone 10R a little bit less of a quality camera than the Pixel 6, but you do still get a very solid camera. You can shoot in almost better resolutions on the iPhone 10R because you do get 1080p at 60 on the front versus 1080p at 30 on the front. And a lot more cameras, from my experience, are optimized for the iPhone cameras than on the Android cameras. So that's another big thing to keep in mind. When it comes down to both of these, I'd probably say that the Pixel 6 is better for now, but the iPhone 10R is very close to it too. So in terms of that, that covers up the cameras. And to be completely honest, I truly do think that the Pixel 6 has a lot of quality. You know, I still think for $599 for a brand new phone, you can't really go wrong with this type of device. It's beautiful, it has a long future ahead of it, and with that new Google Tensor chipset, I'm actually really excited for it. I can't wait for Google to actually start pushing out updates for it, making it faster, stronger, all this other stuff. And I think with the things like better battery life on this phone, better cameras potentially, 90 hertz display, $599 retail value, brand new. Like, you can't really go wrong with this. This has a long future ahead of it. With something like the iPhone 10R, I still think this phone has, a lot of capability. I don't think it's a bad phone by any means. I actually really like this phone. A lot of people love this phone too. The build quality is great. Performance is still good. The screens are still pretty much good for the most part. It's still fast. It's still going to be supported for a long time. There's just not that much to hate on it. But I think for a better value per dollar, this is definitely the better value per dollar price tag for a phone. But I do think that the Pixel 6 may be a little bit better for some people out there, just because it's a brand new phone. You can pick it up for $599 versus pretty much having to buy this thing either used or refurbished, because nobody really sells it brand new anymore, like Apple and stuff. So I'll definitely tell you, if you have an iPhone 10R, I would keep it. I wouldn't go for a Pixel 6. I think this is the better quality. I think this is the better value per dollar, but I think the Pixel 6 is actually the better phone overall. So that pretty much covers it up here. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comments section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.